It is the story of thought in its highest manifestation, or at least in one of its highest aspects. It is wisdom and philosophy. It deserves to be narrated so that the people of this era can know what major events have happened to thought and what has changed in it over the years. Rather, it is a real tragedy that was performed on the stage of life, in which great personalities played prominent roles, struggling with other personalities, and the philosophers were victorious at times, but they ended up being defeated, and the curtain came down on the play of philosophy, and it was condemned as disbelief and it was forbidden to engage in it. Before Islam, the Arabs did not have a philosophy, nor did they care for the sciences and other aspects of civilization that other surrounding countries had attained. From ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Babylonians, Chaldeans, Persians, and Indians. How can the Arabs have a philosophy and have sciences appear in them without paying attention to the first tools of theoretical civilization, which are blogging and writing books that preserve the intellectual progress achieved by each generation, so that the next generation can rely on it and add another step to it in innovation, which is the result of the insights that minds have attained? Al-Farabi told in his book, Attainment of Happiness, the story of philosophy and its transmission from the ancient nations until it reached the Arabs. He said, this knowledge, as it is said, was in ancient times among the Chaldeans, who are the people of Iraq, then it came to the people of Egypt, then it was transmitted to the Greeks. It continued until it passed to the Syriacs, then to the Arabs. The expression for everything contained in that knowledge was in the Greek language, then it became in the Syriac language, then in the Arabic language. The Greeks who had this knowledge called it wisdom in general, and the greatest wisdom, and they called its acquisition and possession philosophy, and by it they meant the devotion and love of the greatest wisdom, and they called the one who acquired it a philosopher. They mean by it the lover and influencer of the greatest wisdom, and they see it as powerful as all virtues, and they call it the science of sciences, the mother of sciences, the wisdom of judgment, and the craftsmanship of industries. Philosophy was transmitted to the Arabs after Islam, when this new religion gave them a new life, and moved them from the tribal rank confined within the Arabian Peninsula, to the broad horizon of humanity, and the Muslims became a superpower extending from the farthest east of China to the farthest west of Andalusia, all or most of whom profess Islam. They speak one language, which is Arabic. Muslims took up the banner of global civilization 10 centuries ago, and they delved into various sciences, arts, and industries, and contemplated and delved into the origins of all these matters. Philosophy, as Al-Farabi said, was the wisdom of wisdom, the science of sciences, and the mother of sciences. This is the state of civilizations. They arise in one nation, flourish and grow, then become extinct, but they do not die, but rather move to another nation. However, the Islamic civilization is distinguished from other civilizations in that it lasted for a longer period and a greater time than other civilizations of the Chaldeans, Syriacs, Persians, and Greeks. The most likely thing is that the banner of philosophy, which was transmitted to Europe from the Arabs since the Renaissance, and has flourished there until today, is returning to its Arab owners at the present time. You will see when we tell you the story of this philosophy that it flourished in the past, 1,000 years ago, when the Arabs became interested in the various sciences and became prominent in them, until when the sciences became established and they delved into them and established the laws regulating them, the thinkers were able to rise from science to philosophy, and it was established on a stable edifice and a solid foundation. When the flow of scientific research and consideration of physics and mathematics stopped, philosophy fell accordingly, and lost the ground on which it depended. At the present time, we find that the Arabs are very interested in the sciences, but it is a movement that is still in its infancy, and it will not be possible for the Arabs to have a philosophy in the true sense of the word until the sciences become stable again among them and rise again at the hands of the Arabs themselves. Then we can tell the story of Islamic or Arabic philosophy again. This will happen quickly, God willing, thanks to the revolution we are living through at the present time, the political, social and cultural revolution. This story is divided into 3 large chapters. Chapter 1, Introductions. In it we search for this philosophy. Is it Islamic or Arab? Is it pure philosophy, or does it include, in addition to theology, Sufism, and the principles of jurisprudence? How was philosophy translated into Arabic? What is this movement known as the era of translation, which began with the transmission of science? What are the most important scientific books that were transmitted? And the second chapter, Personals, in it we tell the story of the most prominent philosophers of the East, Al-Kindi, Al-Farabi, and Ibn Sina. Then the most prominent Moroccan philosophers were Ibn Bajjah, Ibn Tufail, and Ibn Rushd. And the third chapter, Topics, in it we talk about some of the main topics around which research has taken place among philosophers, as this small book can accommodate. We will focus on 4 topics: logic and research methods, considering that logic was the tool of philosophy and the method of researching it. Then we will move to God, the world, and man. Ahmed Fouad Al-Ahwani.